Hare Krishna devotees, please join us for another class on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Today we'll be studying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10th Canto, Chapter 41, Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma enter Mathurā. So please join us for a little Kirtan followed by the study of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai. All glories to somebody devotees, all glories to somebody devotees, all glories to somebody devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Narayanam namaskritya
Narayanam namaskritya
Naram chaiva narottamam
Naram chaiva narottamam
Devim saraswatim vyasam
Devim saraswatim vyasam
Tato jayam udiryet
Tato jayamudirye
Shavtam swakatha Kṛṣṇa
Shravtam Svakatha Kṛṣṇa
Punya Shravana Kirtanaha
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Hridayantasto bhadrani
Hridayantastoya Bhadrani
Vidunoti suhasatam
Vidunoti Sahatsatam
Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nityam Bhāgavata sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata
Bhagavate uttam shloke
Bhagavate Ruttam Shloke
Bhaktir bhavati nashtaki
Bhaktir Bhakti Nashtiki
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So today we'll be covering Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 10th Canto, chapter 41. Please join us for the verse recitation. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 10th Canto, chapter 41. Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma enter Mathurā. Verse 1. Shri Shuka Uvacha
Shri Shukuvacha
Stuvatastasya Bhagavan
Stuvatastasya Bhagavan
Darshayitva Jale Vapuhu
Darshayitva Jale Vapu
Bhuya Samaharat Kṛṣṇa
Bhuya Samaharat Kṛṣṇa
Nato Natyam Ivatmanaha.
Nato Natyamivatmana
Please.
Shri Shukuvacha
Shri Shuka Uvacha
Stuvatastasya Bhagavan
Stuvatastasya Bhagavan
Darshayitva Jale Vapu
Darshayitva Jale Vapuhu
Bhuya Samaharat Kṛṣṇa
Bhuya Samaharat Kṛṣṇa
Nato Natyamivatmana
Nato Natyam Ivatmanaha. Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Shri Shukuvacha
Shukdev Goswami said,
Shukdev Goswami said
Stuvataha,
Stuvata
while praying, Tasya,
Tasya
he,
He
Akrur,
Akrur
Bhagwan,
Bhagwan
the Supreme Lord,
the Supreme Lord
Darshayatva,
Darshayitva
having shown, Jale,
Jale
in the water, Vapuhu,
Vapu
his personal form,
his personal form
Bhuyaha,
Bhuya
again, Smarataha,
Smarata
Smaharat,
Withdrew
Krishnaha,
Krishna
Shri Krishna,
Shri Krishna
Nataha,
Nata
an actor,
an actor
Natyam,
Natyam
the performance,
Iva
as,
as
Atmanaha,
Atmana
his own.
Translation
by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Krishna. Shukdev Goswami said, while Akrura was still offering prayers, the Supreme Lord Krishna withdrew his form that he had revealed in the water, just as an actor winds up his performance. Purport: Lord Krishna withdrew from Akrura's sight the Vishnu form along with the vision of the spiritual sky and its eternal inhabitants. Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paśyatya Deshitarine Om Jnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripa tadaham vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So this verse that we just read reflects that Lord is full in renunciation, just like in the association when the 10 sons of Prachin Varhi, they were performing austerity in the waters. And they were previously instructed by Lord Shiva. So just like them, these are the Prachetas, the 10 sons of Prachinbhari were the Prachetas, and they were performing for 10,000 years austerity in the waters, and Lord, he appeared to them and gave them the benediction so that they can be, righteous ruler of the world. And at that time, Lord disappeared from their sight after expressing that what pleases him most is how these 10 brothers were, cooperating with each other. So that is an instruction that Srila Prabhupada imparts to us also, that all devotees in Krishna consciousness should be collaborating with each other, cooperating with each other with the goal of serving Lord Krishna, because Father is most pleased when all his sons are together, working together to please him. So Lord Krishna is pleased when we cooperate with each other and we are serving Lord Krishna with love and devotion, with that mood of humility, with that mood of gratitude. We are serving our spiritual master and serving Lord Krishna. So spiritual master is an external manifestation of the Lord as his representative. And a spiritual master, just like we covered in the last class, always says that he is servant of God. So he is serving Lord Krishna, so he is dearmost to Lord Krishna. And when we get his blessings, and his blessings come in a very strange forms at times. Once there were some Indians, they were visiting New York, and they visited this matchless gift store where Srila Prabhupada was chanting along with his devotees, his disciples. At that time, they opened the door and said, Swamiji, can we have your blessings? Then Srila Prabhupada pointed it to the devotees. These are my blessings. And so, afraid that they will become shave-headed and they will become like brahmacharis, they closed the door just by paying obeisances from a distance. So when the spiritual master gives blessings, the blessings may be very strong instructions, just like Srila Prabhupada gave some strong instructions to his disciples, which even they felt they could not carry out. So once Srila Prabhupada, he was visiting Dallas temple, and at that time in Texas, when he was visiting, they were on a morning walk. And Srila Prabhupada paid attention that there is a big estate home very close to the temple. As he was walking, he said, who lives there? And they said, oh, this is a big millionaire. He owns oil factories and so forth. So he's engaged in business of oil. And he's a millionaire. So Srila Prabhupada asked, have you preached to him? And they say, no, it's very difficult. He's got guards at the door. So we cannot approach him. But we were able to give one Bhagavad Gita to one of the guards, who accepted it very nicely. Then Srila Prabhupada said, well, you should go and preach to him. You should knock on his door and say that you may all these guards, they are your infallible soldiers. So I'm paraphrasing some of that. So these guards, and sometimes we also look at our family members, and Srila Prabhupada says that these are fallible soldiers, because what really gives us shelter, who really gives us shelter is Lord Krishna. So you should go and tell him that when the death will approach, none of these guards will be able to stop death. Yet at the same time, to be able to be successful in your life, you should read Bhagavad Gita, you should take to Krishna consciousness. But devotees felt this is a very hard instruction from Srila Prabhupada. It is very tough. How can they say this to a millionaire? And so they did not, follow through with the instruction. And soon after, in short time afterwards, this millionaire died. And then the devotees were lamenting that if they had taken Srila Prabhupada's instructions and approached that millionaire, maybe he would have had some benefit. And later on, one of the devotees who was in this gathering in Dallas, Texas, he happened to be in Mayapur, and Srila Prabhupada was doing on a morning walk with his disciples and other devotees. And they introduced, Jayapataka Maharaj introduced a merchant who was visiting from Calcutta. So he was a pious Indian, wearing white dhoti kurta, in a very humble attitude. He was conversing with Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada said, oh, so you own some factories. What do you trade in? What do you manufacture? And then he said, glass. And then Srila Prabhupada is smiling. He says, where does glass come from? He says, it comes from silicon. And then realizing that that's a technical term, he said, it comes from sand. Oh, Srila Prabhupada said, sand. And where does sand come from? So this man was pious. So he said, sand comes from Lord Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada said smilingly, oh, so you are a thief, you are stealing from Krishna. So everybody laughed, including this gentleman. He was laughing as well, understanding the purport, behind what Srila Prabhupada was saying. And this was Srila Prabhupada. He was being introduced with other, visitors, and he would continue to, chant and do his morning walk. And while returning, this gentleman from Calcutta, he was able to again come in front and came to Srila Prabhupada and said, but I give some in donation to Sri Radha Krishna as well. So at that time, Prabhupada said, oh, so you are a small thief. And then everybody laughed, including the gentleman. So this is where the devotee, the disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he saw Srila Prabhupada carrying out and showing him by his own example how to instruct someone to take to Krishna consciousness, even though they may be very rich, very aristocratic, in their lifestyle and so forth. So here, as soon as Akrura, he's doing the prayers and he's, at this time, reciting the prayers that, oh Lord, please, provide me your shelter of your lotus feet. Let me surrender to you. I am a soul surrendered to you. Please provide me your protection. Never let me forget you. Please engage me in your devotional service. At that time, Lord disappears because he is, at this time, he has other purposes as well, and he is satisfied with the prayers of Akrur. And being satisfied, Akrur attains perfection. Well, Akrur also means one who is not cruel, as we discussed. Yet the gopis considered him more cruel. And there is a pastime we did not want to cover because of the time earlier, where actually when Akrur was taking Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma, previous night, Lord Krishna expanded himself to as number of gopis because all these gopis were anxious that Lord Krishna is going to go to Mathurā and he will never, once he goes to Mathurā, he will never return. So Lord expanded into as many forms as their gopis, and he visited every gopi's home to console them and saying that I will return. Yet at the same time, as soon as Lord came back, when so many of these gopis, they were surrounding the chariot, and not just the chariot, these hundreds of thousands of gopis, they were covering the path. And so Akrura, when he was taking Lord Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma from Nand Maharaj's palace towards Mathurā, on the path, he was astonished to see that there were hundreds of thousands of gopis blocking the path. And they were, calling him cruel. So he's a cruel who's not cruel, yet at the same time to these gopis, he's very cruel. And it just so happened that these two of the gopis pushed the horses with their fingers, and because of the potency they had, these horses became loose and the whole chariot fell. Of course, Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma were not hurt, but Akrura fell off this chariot. So in Brahma Samhita, an elaborate description is given as how Akrura was beaten by the gopis. So sometimes even that beating is at the transcendental level, which was taking away all his impurities. And then Lord Krishna had to intervene to save Akrura from getting beaten up to death. And then Akrura was able to come. And then to satisfy Akrura, Lord Krishna took him to Brahmaharda, which is also known as Akrura Ghat. And where Akrura had this vision of Lord Krishna in the four-arm form lying on Ananta Shesh, none other than, expansion of Lord Balarāma. And here he is astonished and he is singing these prayers and is further surprised that Lord disappeared. Just like, one who is performing as an actor winds up one's performance. And in Bhagavad Gita, we also hear as Lord, how he expands and manifests this material world, but at the same time, he annihilates the material world, everything just merges back into him. Just like a spider that, creates a spider web, and after some time just consumes the whole spider web into itself, and then creates another one. So this is another analogy that's given in Bhagavad Gita. So here, Akrura is astonished, and he comes out of the waters of Yamuna river, and he performs his ritualistic, activities, paying obeisances to sun and so forth. And then afterwards, he comes back to the chariot. And here, Lord Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma, they are smiling, and then Lord Kṛṣṇa asks him, "Oh, my dear Uncle Akrura, have you seen something wonderful in the earth, waters, or sky? Because it certainly looks like you have." So here Lord Krishna is teasing him because now Akrura, he is in ecstasy, is in transcendental bliss. And Lord wanted to inquire from him. And then that time Akrura realizes. So he had been a great yogi, a great jnani to this point, but this is where the realization comes. And this is where he fully becomes a bhakta. seeing Lord is all in all. He says, "Oh my dear Lord Kṛṣṇa, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Once I have seen you, then what is talk about what I have seen in earth, water, sky, because everything is in you. So having seen you, there is no need for me to see anything else." So in his astonishment, in his excitement, and in his transcendental bliss, Akrura is expressing, and Lord Kṛṣṇa just smiles, and they continue on their journey to Mathurā. So Akrura, again, as a charioteer, is taking the chariot to Mathurā. And the outskirts of Mathurā, there are gardens, beautiful gardens. So there, they see that Nanda Maharaj, along with his younger brother Upananda and other associates, they are waiting for Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma there. Now somebody could say, wait a minute, Lord Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma started earlier, and the bullocks carts were, yoked with bulls, and all the food stuff like the butter, clarified butter, milk and yogurt, all that was loaded much later, and the cowherd man started much later. Well, there are different incidents that happen in the way that delayed arrival of Lord Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma to Mathurā. One of the incidents, as we discussed, is that the gopis were covering the path, and they were asking Lord Kṛṣṇa to not leave Vrindavan. And Lord Kṛṣṇa never leaves Vrindavan. We already covered, as Acharya say. So who leaves Vrindavan? At the outskirts of Vrindavan, as soon as the boundary of Vrindavan comes in, Kṛṣṇa, he stays back, and it is Vasudeva, the four-arm expansion of Kṛṣṇa. So he appears in this two-arm form because he is none other than Kṛṣṇa. So they are simultaneously one and different. So this is Vishnu Tattvas. So Lord is expanding, and the Vasudeva is, Sarvamiti. So he is present everywhere. The meaning of Vasudeva is one who is eternally present. So he is present in every living entity's heart as Paramatma, as Super Soul. And he is also present as Shirodakshai Vishnu even between the atoms, not just in the atoms, but also spaces between the atoms. So he is the small of the smallest. So that's how we also heard as how one should remember Kṛṣṇa, that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is Anadiradir Govinda. He is the oldest person. And so we hear as how Srila Prabhupada reveals that it is Vasudeva who had been killing all these demons. And now that Vasudeva is going back to Mathurā, no demons are going to visit. Rather, all the gopis and Yashodamai and all the cowherd boys and all the cowherd men, they are going to be in separation from Kṛṣṇa, constantly remembering Kṛṣṇa, because Kṛṣṇa is in aparakrat bhav. He is not manifested to their eyes, yet at the same time, they are loving him in separation, and they are overflowing in their love as they are remembering Lord Kṛṣṇa. So their love is increasing. This is where the pleasure potency expands. Radharani, her love expands for Kṛṣṇa in separation. Again, Radharani's pastime with Kṛṣṇa the previous night is a very long one, so we'll skip that and continue to move forward, where at that time when Akrura, he sees Nanda Maharaj and Sunanda and all the cowherd men and the cowherd boys are outside in the park of, outside Mathurā, in the outskirts of Mathurā. He stops the chariot, and at that time Lord Kṛṣṇa, holding his hand, is very nicely telling him that, please take the chariot back to Mathurā. I will come there later with my associates. He is indicating that Lord Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma would go with cowherd boys to Mathurā later. So at that time, Akrura, he is feeling this transcendental bliss, yet at the same time he is showing his disappointment. Sometimes, man proposes, God disposes. So he had this desire that he will take Lord Kṛṣṇa to his home, so that his home will become sanctified. All the yajna sthalis, all the paraphernalia and all his demigods that he has been worshipping, and his ancestors, everyone will get sanctified. So he is saying, oh Lord, I desire that you come to my home, my humble abode, and all my ritualistic ceremonies and all the ancestors and all the demigods who I have been serving, all of them will become purified and they will attain satisfaction with your presence. Please bestow your mercy on me. At that time, Lord Kṛṣṇa says, yes, I will come to your home, but after, because Akrura, when addressing Lord Kṛṣṇa, said that his, best of the yadus. So, he's saying that you have, Lord Kṛṣṇa is showing that you have called me the best of the yadus.
So in his response, he is saying that I will come after I kill all the demons, including Kamsa, who are the enemies of Yadu dynasty, So Yadavas is another name for descendants of Yadu Maharaj. So having, consoled him, giving him instruction that he should return, Akrura with a heavy heart, he enters Mathura, taking the chariot, and goes to Kamsa, returns the chariot, informs Kamsa that Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma are here, they're in the outskirts and they will be coming to the city soon, and he goes back to his home. So at this time, Lord Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma, they refresh themselves very nicely, and along with their associates, they enter through the big gates of Mathura city. So there were big gates, just like you have now a fort kind of setup. So they are entering through these gates, and they are, looking at the splendor, which is nothing but a spark of the splendor is Lord Krishna's, manifestation of this material universe and all the great things we see in this material world. So they are also appreciating that how beautiful Mathura city is. And it is described very nicely by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as how beautiful this city appears. When they are going in, they are seeing that, the gates are made up of crystals and gold and emeralds and jewels are being, even on the gates, which is, general populace can have access to those areas. And the intersections of the roads have very nice golden settings in the center. Today we go to India, we normally see, some statue or some kind of art stuff is in the center, generally made of stone. And, sometimes they have a small garden around it. But there were beautiful gardens in this Mathura city. The side of the roads were nicely, trees were planted. All the houses, they actually had very beautiful gates. They had kalashas, the water pots on both sides of the gate. And these water pots were beautifully decorated. They're filled with water. And they were decorated with mango leaves on the surface. And on top there were silver platters and golden platters they were placed, where the rows of lamps were lighted. The streets were nicely watered so that they are clean, and the fragrance is coming out. The itra, the fragrance was also, mixed with the water as they were sprayed. And these pots on both sides of the gates had, the flower petals encircling them. So there was a nice round, collection of circle of flower petals. And every house is very nicely decorated. Now, as soon as Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma enter Mathura and they are on the streets of Mathura, looking at this great beauty and how these palaces are so nicely built, the houses are so elegantly built with marble and wonderful stones and so nicely carvings all over the place. All the ladies, all the women in Mathura, they had already heard about Lord Kṛṣṇa. They knew from, having heard so much about Lord Kṛṣṇa's beauty. So they came rushing out to see Lord Kṛṣṇa, and many of them climbed to their roofs. So again, the passage to the roof. In India, you don't have like the houses with, hatched roofs. Rather, they have flat roofs. So you can easily take the stairs and go to the roof. So they were going to the roof, and they're taking, as they saw Lord Kṛṣṇa, their heart melted by looking at Lord Kṛṣṇa, who was very nicely smiling. And Lord Kṛṣṇa's eyes are reddish, and his eyes are constantly, like flickering. They are constantly looking hither and thither. So as he's looking, smiling at them, looking like that, they were embracing Lord through their eyes. Lord was entering their hearts, and where they were embracing Lord Kṛṣṇa. And many of these ladies, when they were doing their makeup, they forgot to put makeup, put makeup on one eye, forgot to do it on another eye. It's like the haste, the excitement, and the feeling to see Kṛṣṇa as he's passing through and not miss a single moment. They were rushing out. Some had put the clothes, the cloth in the wrong manner. Some had only worn one earring, forgot to wear the second earring. Some were feeding their babies, so they put down their babies aside and they rushed to see Lord Kṛṣṇa. Some were, just cooking, and just like gopis, we saw how gopis, when Lord Kṛṣṇa played the song of his flute, they left whatever they were doing instantly and just rushed. Similarly, the women in Mathurā, the girls in Mathurā, they show similar response to Lord Krishna, which also reveals that they are great devotees of Lord Krishna for many, many pastimes. Bahunam janvanamante jnanvamam prapadyate vasudevam sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. So these are rare souls who had been worshipping Lord for many, many births with proper knowledge, and so they were surrendering to Lord Krishna. So as Lord Krishna is walking with he saw a washerman approaching with his associates. So at that time, Lord Krishna, he requests someone. So again, when Lord Krishna is walking the streets, all the Brahmanas who know that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead are making various offerings to Lord Krishna of, unbroken betel nuts. They are making offering of pan, which is like a betel leaf. They make a sweet combination. And then they were making, offering sandalwood pulp to Lord Kṛṣṇa, Balarāma and his associates. So they were all worshipping Lord Krishna. Yet at the same time, Lord Krishna pays attention to this washerman who's carrying nice silken clothes and beautiful clothes. So Lord Krishna requests him that, oh dear washerman, please give us some nice clothes so that me and my brother Balaram, we can, dress ourselves very nicely. And you will automatically receive a great benediction for having done so. And another thing Lord Krishna says, that we deserve to receive these clothes. Yet this washerman was a washerman of King Kṛṣṇa. So he first refuses, but not just refuses, he actually rebukes Lord Krishna in return. He says that these are clothes meant for King Kṛṣṇa and his associates. And you boys, you wander in the forest and in the mountains. How dare you even think, how are you so impudent that you even desire to wear these clothes? Not just wear the clothes, but even desire. So he's rebuking back, not knowing who Lord Krishna is. He's thinking that this is just a cowherd boy who is visiting and coming to Mathura for the first time, and he is making such a big demand, not knowing that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so he is acting in this manner, and Lord Krishna becomes angry hearing this. And then he is just saying that I have had an experience that if somebody acts so imprudent, somebody is so obnoxious in their behavior, asking for things that belong to king, then these soldiers of the king, they beat that person up, they punish that person and take away the person's property. So he is actually responding back that you should be fearful of your life. And who is he challenging? He is challenging Lord Krishna. He is telling Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna becomes very angry. And just with the tip of his fingers, and Srila Prabhupada in Krishna book says, from the upper part of his hand, Lord Krishna, cuts off his head from his body. And all the associates, they panic, seeing this washerman's head rolling on the ground. They immediately drop all the clothes and they run hither-thither. So they immediately disperse, running away from that sight. And at that time, so the lesson we learn from here is, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. So as one surrenders unto me, I reciprocate accordingly. But if one does not surrender to Lord Krishna, when he is so nicely asking for something that actually belongs to him, Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarva lok maheshwaram. So he is already revealing that. And yet at the same time, this person is not surrendering. So Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita reveals that there are 4 kinds of people, they don't surrender to him. Namam darshkitino mudha prapadyante naradhamaha maya pratagyana asurim bhavam ashritaha. So the 4 kinds of miscreants, they don't surrender to Lord Krishna. First is mudhas, people who are working like asses, like donkeys, just trying to survive and looking for survival of their family, just taking care of their family. So they are actually sometimes referred to as grahamedis, a very strong term. So they are not grahastha, because grahastha place Lord Krishna in the center. Grahamedi place themselves in the center, and their expansion is their family in the center, and seek sense gratification. Then Naradhama, the second category is people who are most fallen, like the miscreants, who are doing gangs and creating all kind of havoc. They're the most fallen, they're very dirty, they don't have even a good lifestyle, and they are literally, the lowest of all the human beings. And then Maya Pradgyana. So this third category is Maya Pradgyana. These are the philosophers and scientists whose intelligence has actually been stolen away by material energy, Maya. So they are saying there is no God. And sometimes in their bewilderment that they think that they have become so powerful and they have such a big social, following that they say, I am God. So these are those philosophers. And then Asurim Bhavam Ashrita. And people who are demoniac in nature, always concentrating on I and mine. So here, this is revealed. And earlier, Kṛṣṇa had also prayed when he was leaving Lord Kṛṣṇa. He said that, Lord Kṛṣṇa, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Ganges becomes so pure having washed your lotus feet. So this is the mood of a devotee. While the mood of these four category of men is that they don't surrender because they are completely in delusion because of material energy. And yet at the same time, Kṛṣṇa had previously prayed that Ganges received this benediction to be able to wash away one's sins and the sinful reactions. It's because that's the waters that washed off your feet. So in Trivikrama form, when Lord took the second step, penetrating the boundary of this universe, the waters came down, washing his feet, and Lord Brahma collected it. That's why Ganga is also known as his daughter. And so this waters is taken up, by Lord Shiva on his head. He is taking the same water, Ganges water, on his head, glorifying you because this water has washed your feet. So he wants his head to be in the service, to be able to sustain the force of Ganges when she comes to this material world. And this waters, delivered the 60,000 sons of King Sagara. So again, they attained salvation because they were washed off, their ashes were washed off by these waters. And in India, means people take the remnants, the ahuti, right? After the ancestors are burned and the bodies are burned, they deliver it in Ganges so that, they get purified, following the same principle as that of Bhagirath, who invoked Ganges to come to material world and on earth, and all the 60,000 of his uncles were delivered. So that's the example we get. So here, at this time, Lord Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma, they walk over and they choose two nice clothes each to wear. And as they are wearing these clothes, a trailer, also sometimes referred to as weaver, a person who is expert in, cloth business, how to use cloth in nice way. So this weaver, and in Krishna books, Srila Prabhupada used the word tailor, he comes forward and he nicely uses the clothes very nicely as ornaments. And we see, when we see deities dressed in temples, we see how the same clothes have been used to create nice mukut, right? And even his earrings, he uses the clothes to create very ornamental earrings for Lord Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma, and armlets and so forth. So he's decorating Lord Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma with love and devotion. So now somebody can say, how can somebody just seeing such a ghastly scene suddenly takes to this approach? Then in Bhagavad Gita, Lord identifies that there are four kind of people who approach him very nicely. Artho jigyas arthati gyanischa bharatashva. So what are these four qualities of man? Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukritino arjuna. So these are pious men. Artho jigyasu arthati gyanischa bharatashva. Artho is when he is in distress. Jigyasu is one who is inquisitive, who wants to know who is Krishna, or has inquiry on Brahman. So he wants to know who is beyond Brahman as well. And Jigyasu Arthati, one who is seeking material wealth, seeking some kind of benediction. And Jnani, Jnani is a person who is in knowledge, and of the four categories, Jnani is the best. So this tailor, he approaches Lord Kṛṣṇa and nicely dresses him up. And so Lord Kṛṣṇa gives him benediction that he will attain the same form as Lord Kṛṣṇa. And Srila Prabhupada explains that this tailor has given Sarupya Mukti. So he is able to go back to Vaikuntha planets and attain the four-arm form of, Lord Vishnu. So he will take the same four-arm form in spiritual body, and he will be serving Lord in Vaikuntha planet with awe and reverence. So such is the benediction. And that he will always be happy in this life as well. So not just attain perfection after the life, but also be very happy in this life. Then Lord Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma, they go to the garland maker Sudama's home. So there is another Sudama story will come later on, who is a friend, childhood friend of Lord Kṛṣṇa. But this Sudama is a garland maker. And when he sees Lord Kṛṣṇa and Lord Balarāma approaching, he immediately gets up and pays obeisances, putting his head on the ground, in worshipping Lord Kṛṣṇa. And then he brings Lord Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma very nicely, seats them very nicely on first class, asanas, and there he is worshipping Lord Kṛṣṇa with arghya, the sanctified waters, with lamp, with camphor, and also with sandal pulp. And so nicely he is worshipping Lord Kṛṣṇa and Lord Balarāma, and he's asking, oh Lord, how can I serve you? And then at the same time understanding what Lord wants. So that's like the quality of a first class devotee, who understand immediately what's the desire of his spiritual master and what the desire of Lord Kṛṣṇa is. And he continues to engage in that service. Second class is one who has to be instructed. And third class is one who, when instructed, doesn't take to the instructions. And so does not, seek spiritual growth in their life. So here, and then the fourth class is one who doesn't follow the instruction, rather instructs the spiritual master. So there is also that fourth category identified, which is like of a fallen state, thinking oneself to be even better than the spiritual master and suggesting to spiritual master how spiritual master should carry out his activities, while spiritual master in reality is serving his disciples on behalf of his spiritual master, seeking their benefit so that they can go back home, back to Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada, when he was instructing his disciples, he said, you continue to chant because I will take you back home, but don't make me come back again. So this is, we don't want our spiritual master to come back again and again to take us from this material world, birth after birth. Rather, we want to perfect this life in this very, by simply engaging in devotional service, following our spiritual master's instructions. So that is also called Vani Seva. Vapu Seva is serving the physical body of spiritual master, but Vani Seva is serving his instructions. And scriptures reveal that Vani Seva is even better than Vapu Seva. So we should take to the instructions and follow them. So here this garland maker Sudama, along with his associates and family members, worships the Lord. Then he has made two beautiful garlands. He offers them to Lord Kṛṣṇa and Balarāma. So he garlands Lord Kṛṣṇa and Lord Balarāma with these beautiful garlands. Lord Kṛṣṇa is very happy. He says, ask for benediction. So this is where we learn, there is a very beautiful saying among Muslims. खुदी को कर बुलंद इतना कि तकदीर लिखने से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रज़ा क्या है. So this is where Lord is so happy with this Sudama garland maker that he says, what do you want? What benediction you want? And at that time, this garland maker Sudama asks for three aspects. First is that he wants unflinching devotional service to Lord Kṛṣṇa. So he wants to be a pure devotee of Lord Kṛṣṇa. That's the first. Second is, he's asking that he be friends to the devotees. So he wants the friendship of devotees. That's devotee association. Sadhu Sangha, that's what he's desiring. And then the third is, he wants to spread Krishna consciousness to others. So he wants to benefit the society. So this is where we get the instructions that not just we become devotee of Lord Kṛṣṇa and serve our spiritual master and serve Lord Kṛṣṇa and the Vaishnavas. Rather, we want to be cooperating with other devotees of the Lord so that we are having this nice friendly atmosphere and engage in loving exchanges. And the third is not just keep this knowledge, this wonderful knowledge of Krishna consciousness, the scriptures like Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and so many other books that Srila Prabhupada has given us, not just to ourselves, but go out and distribute it to the world. And even better than distributing the books is distributing the knowledge that these scriptures contain. Because many times we give Bhagavad Gita as it is to someone and they keep it on their shelf as it is, right? Rather, it is better is not just to give them the books, but also open the book. This Bhagavatam is said to be non-different from Lord Kṛṣṇa. To open the Bhagavatam and share this knowledge with them so that they get enlightenment. And they take to devotional service of the Lord, which simply starts with the chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, Lord gives this Sudama garland maker the benediction. He is asking for. The garland maker gets the benedictions. So, and Lord says, Sudama, you will be able to enjoy, you will be always youthful, so you will have all the strength. You will enjoy materially in this life, and all your family and associates. So not just you, but all your family and associates, they would enjoy this material life, and at the end of this life, you will go back home, back to Godhead. So this is a benediction that he is able to attain perfection in this life and also supreme perfection at the end of his life. That's the benediction this garland maker gets and his family gets. And he feels that all his ancestors and all the sacrifices he has performed in his life and all the demigods and all his family members, they have all attained perfection. And there is a similar comparison given with that of Bali Maharaj, who simply offered water to Lord's lotus feet, to Lord Vaman, when he appeared as Vaman Dev. And just by that offering, Lord was pleased, and Bali Maharaj satisfied the Lord fully, so that he attains perfection. Not just in Sutala, which is a lower planetary system, but it was completely constructed by the engineer Vishwakarma, based on the instruction from Lord Kṛṣṇa. And it is said to be more opulent than Swargaloka, the heavenly planet that Indra has. So, and Lord Vamandev resides with Bali Maharaj there. So again, that is as his gatekeeper, and he is also the worshipable deity of Bali Maharaj. So he is saying, it is said that Bali Maharaj attains perfection and also the topmost devotional process, which is Atma Nivedanam, surrendering everything for the pleasure of Lordship. So this is where this chapter ends, giving us instruction that we should take to devotional service, which simply starts with the association of devotees, taking shelter of a spiritual master, and incessantly with that humble mood and gratitude we can chant the holy name of the Lord, which is all desire fulfilling. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And stay happy forever, eternally. Hare Krishna. Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Kori Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitaya Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Nasimha Devati.